All right, everyone. We would like to welcome you to the Rock the Lyceum. For those who are joining us for the first time, the Rock the Lyceum lecture series is hosted by NCCU's Office of Student Engagement and Leadership, along with the Lyceum Committee. The series brings in several of the nation's top entrepreneurs and thought leaders to engage students in relevant topics in education, entertainment, politics, and social justice. I'd like to begin by having a student introduce ourselves, and we'll kick it off. So I'll start it off. My name is Malcolm Beeman. I'm a mass communication student here at North Carolina Central University. I'm a senior from Jamestown, North Carolina. Organization I'm part of, Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, by way of the Gamma Beta chapter. And I'm also a part of the Institute Life, and I'm the photography and videography lead.
Good evening, everyone. I am Jada Anthony, a senior hospitality and tourism student from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I serve as the Student Activities Board Vice President.
Evening, everyone. My name is Alexis Hart. I'm a junior mass communication student from Durham, North Carolina, and I currently serve as a Student Activities Board President.
So thank you, Malcolm, for getting us started. The first half of our speakers this year were selected and focused on topics around social justice, and now we have the distinct honor to have our remaining speakers returning to the nest. Our alumni speakers are industry leaders who are coming back to share with us, Eagles and the greater community, their expertise pertaining to their respective industry.
So tonight, our first Eagle is returning to the nest. A sixth-generation entrepreneur with over 25 years of concert and musical festival experience. Many of you may have enjoyed experiences like Art of Cool, NCCU, and many other HBCU's homecoming concerts. And if you have had the chance to travel to Detroit, Michigan, and attend any concerts held at the world-renowned Shane Park Amphitheater, now known as the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, then you have indeed been impacted by the work of NCCU's own alum, Mr. Sulaiman Mausi.
All right, first I'd like to thank Mr. Mausi for being here, welcome you back to, your alma mater, Central. And would you please share us why it's important for you to return to our nest? Like what's important, what's the importance, and what have you done thus far since graduating?
It's truly an honor and privilege to be speaking with you all, to have the opportunity to be asked back to speak at North Carolina Central University. I graduated in 1997, and it's important. One thing that was installed in me at Central was giving back, embracing our community, taking the time to do community service, taking the time to help others along the way. And it's important for me, my company, and my family to make sure we continue to impact our community. As I was said before, I'm a sixth generation entrepreneur, and a lot of my roots, even though I'm born and raised in Detroit, a lot of my roots are in North Carolina. So it is, that's how I ended up at NCCU. So, but I was always taught that, you reach out, you extend that hand to the next man, to the next woman, pull them along the way, share your experiences, help others avoid your traps. I got so much out of NCCU, it would be criminal that I didn't give back. And with this opportunity and others, this one, just speaking as opposed to just the work, is important. And again, it's an honor and privilege to be here speaking with you all. The second part of the question was what have I done since I've graduated? Correct. I graduated in 1997, so that's a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? I've done a lot. Upon graduating, I returned to Detroit, Michigan. Getting married to my wife, It'll be 22 years next month, May 5th, in a few months, May 15th. So, got married, had kids and all of that. But professionally, in the entertainment field, I got, I actually started here at Central, doing parties, throwing parties around campus around the 96, 97 time frame. Being a friend of mine, Brian Dawson, who you hear on the radio at K97.5, we actually started together. We were doing parties at what is I don't even know, it used to be called Blue Chips and other places, but it's the right off Hillsborough Road. So we weren't really making any real money there. So when my grandmother got sick, my mother asked me to come back home and help out. Even though I enjoyed doing parties, it was time to get a job. So when I graduated, when I went back to Detroit, there were other huge party promoters doing their thing. So I had to find my niche, and I didn't know I didn't want to throw parties forever. So I kind of tripped into doing live shows. So I started a company. Actually, my mother had started a company back in probably like the late 90s, the Right Productions, and we ended up getting a contract for MGM casino when it opened, and we were booking the talent, the local talent, and producing the events for the national talent that they would bring in. So that was kind of a good end as far as the concert industry. And then came together with another promoter and did what was called the Detroit Music Festival in 2002. Was our first one, and that's really when I got my break into doing concerts. The short version of it, my primary responsibility was doing transportation. So I was a transportation coordinator. So I had to make sure that all the artists got in to the stage, sound check, hotels, all that kind of stuff. So I learned how to put a matrix together during that few-year run. Always make sure either myself or my guys were on time, but I was able to build relationships with a lot of managers along the way and agents. So fast forward to 2004, the city put out for bid Shane Park Amphitheater because it was mismanaged. At the time, there was the correct way to say it. It wasn't a lot of, the books weren't right. You know what I'm saying? So the city put it out for bid. That was under Kwame Kilpatrick's administration. And our company submitted the bid and we were awarded the bid. So the reason one of the primary reasons we were awarded the bid was because we had the contract with MGM. It didn't pay a lot, but we had a gaming license, which means our books were clean. So one of the things that was important for the city at the time was to make sure that everything was ran above board and this, that, other. So, they awarded us the contract. And for me doing transportation, I was able to call those same managers that I was the driver or had drivers picking them up to be able to book the talent. And that is how it all started. And we've been managing and operating that 6,000 seat amphitheater since 2004. This is our 18th year. It's amazing. So that kind of opened it up. That is, the genesis of me getting into concerts. But one of the most important things I learned even before I got, we got the venue was during the festival, when we were doing the festivals, I learned how to do the budgets. So while I was transportation, I was sitting there, I was quiet, I had a suggestion because I was younger, this, that, other, but I learned what the things cost. And I also saw and learned how people were trying to overcharge for things. I use transportation because that's how I got started. Like right now, I can tell you what it's going to cost to do transportation for a show. You're not going to overcharge me. You're not going to stick me up. And I'm not going to underpay you because I know what it costs to get it done. So along those early, between doing parties in the early days of the festival and things like that, I learned the different aspects of the entertainment business. the concert business specifically. So I know what, how to put a spreadsheet together for budgeting. I've done the catering, I've done security, from the party days, I've done the street team, and I've done transportation. So I've done all the different aspects of the business, the concert business. So I know how to, most importantly, put together a budget and know how to scale the house to make sure that it runs as a business. And that's what a lot of people tend to miss when it comes to doing shows and events and things like that. And sometimes they'll think it's different because it's entertainment. It's not ran like a normal business. And oh, yes, it is. It doesn't matter whether you're doing Jay-Z or you selling toothpicks. The same business principles apply. So learning those things during those years was key and crucial in my development throughout the years.
How'd you if you wearing these many hats, these different job, titles and everything else? How did you manage your time doing all those things at the same time?
That's a good question. How to manage my time? It was just, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You just get, you just do what you got to do to get the job done. Period. And that is what I think is most important. That when you find something, because I always enjoy doing parties. I enjoy doing shows. If you're doing something that you enjoy, it makes it not as hard doing the job. It's still a hard job. But having a young son back then, young wife, myself being young and not knowing I'm young, you know what I'm saying? You just think 20, oh, you think you're not, no, you're still young. But you just do what you have to do to get the job done, but doing it the right way. Not being afraid to ask for help, not being afraid to ask for advice. I think those are some of the key things that I find myself doing along the way, and that's what and putting together a solid team to help you get everything done is what's most important. So.
Okay, so if someone potentially wanted to go into this same industry, what advice would you give them, and how would you say the steps that they need to take for them to pursue the same industry that you're in?
For the concert industry and really entertainment in general, I would encourage you all to join the SAB or SGA, if they change the title of it or whatever, is work on your homecoming shows. I think that's a really, really good start. So that way you can see how how the system works. Because a lot of people think you just, put an entertainer on the stage one day and that's it. Man, it takes months and months and months of planning. How to make those decisions. Volunteer your time. Because it's cheaper now for you to volunteer and learn for free than trying to stick 20, 30, 50, $100,000 on the line and ain't got a clue what you're doing. Because a lot of those days, those early days, I made with MGM. I mentioned that we had that contract. Literally, I was bringing home like $250 a week. Nothing. You know what I mean? $1,000 is nothing when you got a wife at home, and and a 2000 and a 2-year-old son. That ain't no money. I had a day job on top of that, but I still wasn't making any real money. But you learn along the way. And once you think you have one thing, volunteer for the next. Always follow the money. You know what I'm saying? So if you see something, ask that person who's executing something that you did, how did you do that? And what made you make that decision? And generally, once someone sees you working and doing a good job of something, they'll share that information because people want to see you succeed. You know what I'm saying? Real people do, not everybody. It's always some snakes. So don't get don't get your heart broken or this, that, or somebody says no. Just keep pushing, and keep knocking on that door. There's some opportunities. Hopefully, I'll be able to present to NCCU as a pilot program with our nonprofit to do some internships with some national agencies. We've had interns for the Art of Cool Festival here in Durham. So just learn the business but really approach it as a business, and don't get caught up in the hype of it. And don't just do it for the music that you quote unquote like. If I did concerts and stuff of the music that only I like, I'd be out of business. So it may, you might have to volunteer at a country western festival or a rock and roll festival or a jazz festival or a jazz show or whatever the case may be. But take that opportunity to learn. Don't focus in what's necessarily on the stage. Learn what's happening behind the stage. Because once you have that together, you can put anything on the stage and it doesn't matter. But you just make sure you're efficient and learn the different components of what's going on to get to that stage. Put in the work to get the people on the stage, and then you have a shot at being successful. I mean, that's the route I would suggest.
So I know you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but how would you say that NCCU contributed to your skill set and your success today?
NCCU, to me, it played a major part. My degree is in history, so I don't work in the history field. I was planning on going to law school. It didn't work out for me. But I use all the reading and writing that I did, all those papers. I use that stuff all the time in these contracts. Being able to break down, what was actually said, how it was interpreted, you use that stuff, you know what I'm saying? You really don't think that you do, but it's, I use some of that macroeconomics, you know what I'm saying, that I took along the way, you literally, you use the formal education part of it, but a lot of it is the informal or the informal things that you learn on campus, pushing through the bull, you know what I'm saying? Figuring it out when, awards letters supposed to be in it, ain't there, how am I gonna stay in school, da 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 da, you know what I'm saying? All that, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I had somebody who's gonna invest on this show, they didn't make it, they ain't come off the money, this other. Well, the show still gotta happen. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I thought I had this scholarship coming, it didn't work out, blah, 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 blah. I still got to graduate. I still got to get through this class. I got to figure it out. That's what it's about, how you start something and getting it done. You know what I mean? That is something that you learn at North Carolina Central University. You know what I'm saying? And that's on the stage, you know what I'm saying? You're going to figure out a way to get it done, or you ain't going to make it. You know what I mean? And as simple as that. So those life skills are crucial, you know what I mean, along the way. So I use that stuff every day. As an entrepreneur, you have obstacles that, that make the average person crumble. But I was able to get my girth and my bravado and my stick-to-itiveness from NCCU. A couple of things that I've learned, I've said it a million times over. Two main things I learned at North Carolina Central University: learn how to learn, and learn how to be a man. And with those two things, it's taken me. I haven't gone around all the way around the world yet, but I did make it to India, and I'm still going. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about it. But the relationships that I built on campus from Central in this field, and I'm sure it applies to all fields because that's how we roll as Eagles, is amazing. There's some brothers, I don't know, do y'all know who Mike City is? You got NCCU alum. Mike City, he graduated, he produced platinum albums up and down the, with Brandy. You heard of Sunshine and heard it all before. Everybody's familiar with that song. That's my girl. We graduated together. But he produced the record and on the record label. You know what I'm saying? that Brandy Full Moon. He's out there in LA cutting with Dr. Dre, and you know, his name is Michael Flowers. You can look him up on Instagram and stuff. Like, great brother. NCCU, he was cutting hair when I was there. You know what I'm saying? I'm passing out flies. You know what I'm saying? He was cutting hair on Avondale. Now he's in, you know, John Smith. He's in Australia. He's Spinderella's manager. I mean, just on and on and on. You know, just so many different connections that came from my time at NCCU, and we still call on each other. We do business with each other. You know, I'm not calling anybody on the homeboy hookup. I'm calling to break bread. You know, so you know, it's we try to recycle the dollar the best that we can, but we have each other's back in the trenches, which you have to do to get out of NCCU. You ain't gonna make it out of it by yourself. Somebody gonna help you, and your mom and daddy can't help you because you can't tell them everything. You know what I'm saying? It's the cast of people, men and women, that are going through the same thing that you're going through, been through, and y'all gonna pull each other across that finish line. And I'm blessed to have built those relationships with people on campus.
So in this industry, I know anything can happen, like just surprise you if anything happened in this industry. So when it comes to doing stuff differently, can you recall a time where you had to do something differently as far as with concerts or events?
All the time. There is no such thing as, yes, there's a standard way of doing business. But very rarely in life do things go A, B, C, D, E. You know, they tend to go A, C, F, you know, and go around. So it's once you learn the business and you have an established name, you know what I'm saying? Your name will go further than your money ever will. You know, if they know you a rock solid person that's on time and this, that, other, you can damn near survive anything. You know, hell, I just survived the pandemic almost, God willing, you know what I'm saying? With 20 shows up on sale, you know, seven figures in limbo somewhere, this, that, I don't know how to figure, you know, it's just like, but the agents know, the managers know, and the artists know we're gonna get through it together. You know, I'm a man of my word. We're gonna replay this date, and the ticket holders know. Some people still holding tickets, waiting on the show for this year. Hopefully, we can play it. But we're able to establish a relationship, like, you know, with our audience, that, you know, we are credible. You know, so we're not stealing people's money. It's just in cyberspace. Who knows where it is? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's a bad situation, but through it, we'll get it all. So it's, you know, without a good name, I don't think we'd have made it through this pandemic. But it's a million stories that to tell or not to tell about what happens behind the scenes. You know, that's another crucial thing. When you're working behind the scenes, don't spread what you see. You know, I know a lot of younger people like to record and post every damn thing. You know what I'm saying? It ain't cool. You know what I mean? Because cats like myself want to stay away from thinking, not thinking you the feds, but it's like thinking that you gonna, you know what I'm saying, you gonna put my business on the street because I'm cussing somebody out because they late. You know what I'm saying? That if I gotta cuss somebody out because they're late and it's gonna cause the show to run over and we arguing back and forth, that ain't for Instagram. That's for two grown adults working out a business deal. Like, no, the show's supposed to be over at 11. At 11:01, it's gonna cost you extra $5,000. You showed up late. That's your $5,000 bill I'm taking out of your bill. I don't need that on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, don't post everything. Show some discretion. I can't stress that enough. That's very, very important. You know, everybody got a phone. Everybody trying to get, you know, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Keep your name intact. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the biggest mistakes that particularly young people make nowadays in the business. They post everything. You know what I'm saying? Don't post it until, but let me give you an example. By the time I post something, I'm already on to the next thing. You know what I mean? people post all the time, especially young people, but older people too, is, oh, I'm about to. Well, my next move, that man, do it. You know what I'm saying? Do it once it's done, post it. By the time I post something, if I post a show, the next one's in the hopper. You know what I'm saying? This has been booked probably 30 days before, or whatever the time frame is, been done. I've been over with. You know what I mean? Don't talk people to death. You know, be about it. So that's in any business, but particularly in the entertainment business.
So being an SFB, I have noticed how when it comes to, working with hip hop concerts and all types of concerts, we can have everything put out on a piece of paper, and at last minute, everything's changed. So my question for you would be, how would you say that you deal personally with disappointment and frustration when it comes to working in this industry?
Just realize that everything's going to change. You know, make sure that that the foundation is laid, everything's communicated ahead of time. If a show starts at 8, doors open at 7. What happens before 7? All hell could break loose. Flight can be late or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of things, but some of the stuff we know what's got to get done. You know what I'm saying? That show's got to hit. It's got to hit on time. We don't do CP time or whatever people call it, this, that, other. An 8 o'clock show is 8 o'clock. You know, because there's financial implications behind that. By going over and this, that, other, you know, because you got labor bills and all types of stuff that can cause expenses to go up. But things are going to change in the business. You know, you may have 3 different acts. The first person supposed to sound check, their flight is delayed, or they missed the flight. Okay, well, if they're not here, I need you to sound check now. And if you got a professional sound person, they know how to save the stuff, you know, and just move it around and adjust it. But the main thing is, doors going to open at 7, and the show's going to start at 8. You know what I'm saying? That we're sticking to. Or now you ain't got a sound check. You're going to do a line check right before the show. You're getting up there and, you know, that's why it's good to have professionals, so they're going to have to mix it on the fly. Because the doors are opening at 7, and the show is starting at 8. You know what I'm saying? And your time is 35 minutes. Or 15 minutes, and that's that. You get off the stage. And that's it. So, you know, but be flexible. And the more you learn along the way, you know how to adjust with it, and it doesn't stress you out as much because after a while you've seen almost all of it, but it's always gonna be something new. It's unbelievable. Then with egos and just life in general, it's going to change. But I do know the doors opening at 7, and that show's gonna start at 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? And that's that. You know, because if you don't do that and you don't handle your business in a certain way, then everybody else will be all over the. There'll be no control. There'll be no faith in what's going on and stuff like that. So you have to hold firm and treat the business as a business. Behind the scenes, don't show up, drunk, high, you know what I'm saying, this, that, other. Smoke a joint after it's done. You know what I'm saying? Have a drink after it's done, whatever your thing is. But you make sure that you're in place no matter if somebody else isn't in place, and you'll be fine. But learn the business and treat it as a business, and you'll be fine.
So what would you say thus far has been one of your biggest accomplishments? Like in your eyes, what do you look at and you go, wow, I really did that?
Besides speaking here today, wow, but within the business, the Art of Cool Festival was definitely a big leap of faith for myself and my company and my family. Purchasing that festival a few years ago, and trying to expand it to the heights that it was, and trying to leave a lasting impact on the city of Durham and the state of North Carolina. I think that would be a huge one. Anything I had ever built up to that point was built from the ground up. literally hand to mouth. So that was that was big. Also, the most challenging thing that I've done was before I got into the concert business full time, when I was still working the festival at night. My last day job, which I quit April 29th, I think April 30th, 2003, was I curated an exhibit in Detroit. I worked at the Detroit Historical Museum, and I curated an exhibit called Techno, Detroit's Gift to the World. And it told the story of how, because techno music and all the EDM dance music and stuff like that, it was started in Detroit by 4 Black men, just regular, and it blew up on underground Detroit, and it blew up all around the world. It's still bigger, in Japan. They made people superstars in China and Japan and this stuff. So it blew up, and the music went all around the world, and they had a festival, and it still goes on today, called the Movement Festival. But then it was called the Detroit Electronic Music Fest. And I wanted to tell the story because I was doing marketing at the time, and I was sitting in a meeting, and they said, what are we going to do next? And I said, well, why don't we tell the story of, how this music started, this, that, other, brothers ain't getting no shine. And they said, okay, it's a great idea. Why don't you do it? I was like, oh shit, how am I gonna do it? I never actually did an exhibit before. But I did that. The reason it was so challenging was capturing and documenting history from people who are still alive was extremely challenging. Because you don't want to damage their career and date them. To make it seem like they were old fogies and this, that, and other. And then you have so many different versions of the truth, because they don't all get along now, and kind of foolishness. But you have to stick to the data and make the decisions that were hard. But was able to pull it off, and it was, and it was a huge success, literally all around the world. And it was the final straw that gave me the confidence that I could be an entrepreneur and I can step out and do this on my own, because I came up with the concept, executed it, and this, that, other, and fighting through administrations, changes, and this, that, other. People didn't want it to happen and giving me hell. And I was making like $32,000 a year before taxes, nothing. And once it became successful, all the powers that be stick their chest out, oh, I did a great thing, and treated me like nothing. I was like, okay, if I can do this for y'all, I can do it for myself. So I quit, and haven't worked for anybody else since then. Some of y'all probably weren't even born there. Lord have mercy, But that's a true story. But it's called Techno Detroit's Gift to the World, and that is the most challenging event that I've done to this day. The most challenging project that I worked on to this day. But it feels good, it feels good to look back like, wow, I did that. And, now it's a permanent part of the exhibit. See the picture stumble. I still don't get the credit for it really, but that's life. They got like Detroit Music Awards and all this, that, other. And they gave me 1 ticket, told me I couldn't even bring my wife. I said, shit, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, what I'm saying? Y'all cold-blooded, but you're directing your wife there. I can't take mine. You ain't, I wrote every word in this thing. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm out of here, And, put in my notice, and it was a wrap. I ain't work for anybody else since.
So, everything really runs by technology nowadays. So when it comes to reaching out to people in this industry, how would you want somebody to approach you, like a student or somebody not even in school, to approach you as far as like working with you or just building connecting with you over time?
That's a good question. People reach out all the time via social media, and I try to use discernment of who I respond to and who I don't. Most people, I'll follow, if they follow me, I'll follow them back. And if I got time, you start looking at what they're posting, how serious they are, how focused they are. Because the ones that I tend to stay away from is people posting something different all the time. Every 2 weeks, oh, I'm about to do this, I'm launching this studio, I'm on this project. Man, I ain't got to, you gonna talk me to death. You know what I'm saying? So after a while, you get a little bit better about screening people out. But I never really considered myself that guy. Like, well, I don't know. So people reach out to me, and some people I'm able to connect with, some people I can't. You know what I mean? I do the best that I can. I really look at the message somebody sends me. Make sure the grammar is correct, you know what I'm saying? Or close to it, you know what I'm saying? Or, so they have a clear, concise vision of what they're trying to accomplish. I stay away from people who say, let me pick your brain. I hate that phrase. Why don't you pick it with a check? You know what I'm saying? But if you say you want to learn something, that's different. You know what I mean? I'm trying to learn how to do this. Generally, if like I said, it literally just depends. So if we stay, it depends. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. You know what I'm saying? If I meet somebody when I'm on campus, and they say, hey, I want to get into the business. Okay, well, what have you done to this point to try? If they haven't done anything, then if you're not self-motivated, then if you haven't volunteered or came on campus and spent no time on the SAB or thrown a party, you ain't done nothing. You just dreaming, you know what I'm saying? And talk, you ain't done absolutely nothing to accomplish your goal. What can I do for you? That's kind of how I look at it. But I'm on all social media platforms, except TikTok. I don't know.
So what would you say an average week looks like for you? Like, what's your typical day by day?
Day by day, I am up about 6 a.m. I go to bed at 2. I wake up at 6:30 at the latest, sometimes 5:30. And I'm just an early riser. I like to get up and knock my business out early, because if you think you're going to catch up and do my kind of numbers and take my spot or do what I'm kind of doing, and you ain't even start your day till 9, 10 o'clock, you fucked. You'll never catch me. You know what I'm saying? So by the time people in the hopper, I'd have fired off all types of emails. You know what I'm saying? You woke up like, oh man, So I'm just an early, but by nature I'm an early riser. So I get up, I hit the ground. I pray not like I'm supposed to. I need to start exercising, but I'm up at 6:30 working and going through everything and just writing out a to-do list about what I want to get accomplished, or what I need to get accomplished. And I try to check off that list, and try to work with like-minded people who are focused on the same goals to start executing my plans. But it really starts off in the mornings. That's the thing about being an entrepreneur. There is no 9 to 5. Oh, I got to hurry up and be somewhere. Not no. I got to get the job done. And a lot of people are counting on me to make things happen. So that's what that's how my day. That's how every day starts. Sunday through Saturday. Now I do try to take a nap now. You know what I'm saying? I might be asleep or laying out doing nothing around from 2 to 3. From 2 to 3:30 if I can. But I'm up early. Waking up at 8, 9 o'clock, you missed the boat. I done made your bread all day for the day. So I highly recommend that. I try to stay focused. I also try not to take on too much. I try to do like 2, 3 projects at the most at a time. Another key to success that I learned until later was I didn't really start making money until I learned how to tell people no. Can you do this? Nah, I can't. You know what I mean? And if they're upset with my telling them no, then shame on them. Because you asked me a question, I answered it. It may not have been the question that you wanted. You know what I'm saying? The answer that you wanted, but it's the answer. You know, because I learned through the years, worked on a lot of projects. All of them I have learned a lot of knowledge from that I was believing in other people's projects and working harder on it than they were. You know, like I used to manage rappers and stuff. They going to jail. I'm getting them paid rapping gigs, and y'all doing, y'all on some foolishness. You know what I mean? Or T-shirt companies. But I've learned stuff along the way from each different journey that I took. Learned how to start a record label. I learned how to manage. I learned how to run T-shirts and this and that. But those are a lot of that stuff. Is other people think like I'm not a rapper. You know what I'm saying? I'm at the gig. You showed up like a superstar. Okay, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Good luck to you. God bless you. Good night. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I got kids to feed. So stay focused. Tell people no. You know what I'm saying? If you can't accept the fact that I told you no, then you ain't my dude no way. You have a question. That's just nah. I can't. No matter why I can't, I just can't. You know what I'm saying? I'm busy as hell. Or I'm not busy, or I'm just not doing that. How about that? But I ain't got to explain nothing to you. Nah, I can't do it. But that doesn't mean I don't wish you well, and that doesn't mean that I don't think your idea is a good thing. But if I take my time away from the projects that I'm already working on, then none of it is successful. So learn that word no as soon as possible, and learn how to say it in different ways. Oh man, but always be straight up with it. So it's not a good time for me. Real people will respect that.
So how has the concert and entertainment industry changed within like these past few years? And then what do you project that it will look like within the next 5 to 10 years?
The concert industry has really going through big ebbs and flows over the last few years. Like over the last 3 to 5 years pre-COVID, the artist fees have really got ridiculously high. You know what I'm saying? For no reason whatsoever. Okay, you're asking for $50,000 based upon what data? Because now one of the good things about the internet is it gives artists a chance to break out really quickly with no promotion, this, that, other. The bad thing is, you can have a hot artist that everybody's listening to, but it doesn't necessarily equate to ticket sales. So you're a new artist with 2 new internet songs that just broke on the radio, which is fine and good, but now you ask $100,000 because you're not making money off record sales. But in order to pay you $100,000, that means I have another $150,000 worth of expenses to make it happen. So that means I have to charge $85 a ticket. So your core demographic goes to North Carolina Central University and they're freshmen and they ain't got $85 to spend on a ticket. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. You know what I'm saying? The majority don't. So if I'm a promoter, I'm gonna lose my shirt messing with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's a balancing act. You know what I'm saying? You have to stay current with the new stuff, but you have to be fiscally responsible. So, those numbers that, they go from 0 to 30, 40, 50, $100,000 acts real quick. So that's been a big change in the industry. So now hopefully with COVID, that comes back down to a little bit more sense of reality. We'll see. Because now there is no work for any of us. So a lot of people who were hot last year on the internet and wouldn't take $10,000, $20,000. See, the thing is about artists taking the quote unquote low money and coming on campus and things like that, and doing dates where people can pay $20 to come see you, is you build a fan base that will last you 30 years. You know what I mean? So the people that you all, in theory, should be going to see live and sharing experiences and getting drunk underage or on age or whatever y'all doing, what pills you're taking or whatever it is, partying, having a good time with your friends and getting home safely, those experiences that you will share for the rest of your life. And in 10 years, when you got some more coins, you're gonna want to go see them again. But that same artist who wouldn't go take $20 from you, one at 80, that you don't have, won't get that money from you 10 years because you didn't have that experience. And I see that a lot now. You know what I'm saying? It's like they get, they have people in their ears that's looking for that quick money instead of longevity. Yes, you have to make money, but you're better off building it from a long-term career. And, I have a friend joining who can speak to a little bit more to that aspect of it. It's just something that's really, really missed with the way that the industry is working. Now with COVID, everything is, online and this, that, other. But the one thing I'm a firm believer in is that nothing will, and I could be wrong, I hope that I'm not, will replace the live concert experience. There's nothing like going somewhere, getting dressed up, you know what I'm saying? I can feed my family for the rest of my life if I can figure out something for you and your girls, because women, no disrespect, bro, but women dictate how the money is spent. If I have something that you and your girls want to dress up and go out to for the next, right now y'all young, and keep programming hitting your pockets as your pockets increase for the rest of your life, I'm good for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Off those artists. And those artists can keep working because it's going to be girls' night out, da, 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 da. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? It's creating those experiences. And that is something that, you can't get off of you can't get off Instagram. You know what I'm saying? You can't get that off of TikTok. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you can meet people all day long. But when they come down to the get down, male or female, you know what I'm saying? You need that human interaction and that connection to connect and keep the world going and procreating. You know what I'm saying? You can't get it online. You can simulate it, but it ain't the same thing. So and nothing like human interaction. So I'm basing, I'm building a career and a legacy off of human interaction. And I believe that will be back stronger than ever. Hopefully in a fiscally responsible way. Some of these acts are charging way too much damn money. It doesn't make any sense. There are artists that are outpricing our entire community. And it's good for them, they're getting their money, but it's really tough on our community. It's just they just charge too much to get that base. But hope I answered the question well.
So what's the experience that you will never forget? I know it's exciting working in this industry, but an experience that you'll never ever forget.
One of my best experiences happened recently at 2018's Art School Festival. And this may seem really mundane to others, but to me personally, it was a huge accomplishment. I'm not sure if y'all familiar with the group Little Brother, the Ninth Wonder and everybody. During the festival, we were able to get them back to do a reunion show. I had Royce the 5'9" booked. He missed his flight. I called Fonte, who's another NCCU alum. I said, man, got the recommendation from Cicely. She was like, so let's see if Fonte will do it. I said, okay, let me call Fonte. I said, man, you think if I can get the guys? Shit, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But they came back together and did a show. They hadn't worked together in over 10 years. I don't think they've done it together, all three of them, since then. But the reason that show was so personal to me was a very, very, very good friend of mine had passed away, who was an NCCU alum, and he was a Gamma Beta brother, Darian Hager. He was the one that turned me on Little Brother. He's the one that introduced me to Ninth Wonder. I had known Ninth Wonder before I knew anything about Little Brother. I missed that whole wave back in 2002 when they dropped it and stuff like that. So I became a fan once I moved back to North Carolina in 2009. But he had passed away, and he had just passed away that year. He was incremental in me buying the festival. And he just, I believe to this day that he orchestrated that thing from heaven. And, you know, the response around the world, and that focused in on Durham and those brothers getting back together that attended North Carolina Central University, the way it all came together organically and divinely, was a moment that I'll never forget. And when they walked off the stage, I literally cried. Not just because of them per se, but because Hager wasn't there. And I miss that brother to this day. Solid brother. He died at 45. His wife is still in Durham, son there, you know. And one of his sons is up in Baltimore, but that was a very tough loss for our family, for Alpha, for Central, for everything, you know what I'm saying? And that's a moment I'll never forget. I mean, there's been all types of wild stuff happening. BMX falling off motorcycles, all type of crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? That just, you know what I'm saying? That's happened along the way, but that one was special. So, you know, I won't focus in on some of the negative things I've seen. I've seen people use drugs. You know, I can focus in on the negative, you know, but I tend to focus in on the positive. You know, we did raise almost in Detroit, and I think a lot of communities around the, particularly in our community, have a backlog of DNA rape kits that I don't know if you've heard the story or not, where rape kits not even being tested, where a woman said that she was raped, and you know, go through the whole thing, and municipalities weren't testing them because they didn't have the money. We did a show with Erykah Badu, and I think we raised, have to check the numbers, somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 just to get rid of the backlog of testing rape kits in Detroit. You know what I mean? I should call her again. I didn't think about that. But yeah, so I mean, we've been able to do a lot of memorable things, and we're blessed along the way. You know, some of the homecoming shows that I've done, you know, with NCCU have been memorable. You know, we've had her, you know, Big Sean, Mary J. Blige, and all, you know, a lot of stuff that, you know, to be able to come back and to bring my expertise back to my alma mater. And, you know, G-Ho is G-Ho. Good for them, God bless them. But hell, we have a ball at homecoming. You know what I'm saying? People talking about, oh, it's the same weekend. I ain't missed a beat. I can't stand up. I'm partying hard. You know what I'm saying? We have a ball, and I hope they do too. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they do. You know what I'm saying? But to me, it's no comparison. I'm not going to Greensboro. God bless them. Say what you want. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, we've done some phenomenal things, you know, and I'm proud of that. You know what I'm saying? It makes me feel good to be able to do things like that. I was disappointed that the students didn't show up for her. You know what I'm saying? That's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying, the faculty, they cut the check, this, that, other, and, you know, they ain't buy the tickets. Like, what are y'all, you know, y'all embarrassed. Y'all got me now. She's all over the world, this, that, other. She came to NCCU and didn't play some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't happy about that. You know what I'm saying? So people buy those tickets even when you ain't happy. You know what I'm saying? Support the school, because the school's doing a lot to support the, what you call it, and we don't want to, you know. I heard the same thing happen with Kendrick Lamar before my time. He came to NCCU and nobody showed up. Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick Lamar think, oh, NCCU, I don't want to go there. Ain't nobody. Come on, man. We got to do better. But anyway, let me get off my soapbox. You know what I'm saying?
So who would you say is making the greatest advancements in the concert and entertainment industry? And what do you believe is adding to their success?
Who is making the greatest impact? That's a good question. See, the concert industry is so, I won't say it's political, you know, these major companies, Live Nation, AG and stuff, have really bought out a lot of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard for us independents to survive. But you do see a lot of these newer artists taking control of their own destiny. And I do like seeing that. What's my man's name out of Tech Nine? I don't know if you're familiar with him. But Tech Nine, he literally controls everything in-house. So he's an independent artist. He does his own shows. He sells his own merchandise. He make $10-15 million a year, or whatever, probably more. So somewhere around in there, a year. But he's able to do that because with social media and stuff like that, you control your own message, and he's built everything from the ground up. And so those are very strong numbers. You know what I'm saying, to be independent. Women are really, really doing their thing. Her is an example. There's so many incredible women who are making powerful strides. Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? She is really, really doing extremely well. And I think she shut Nicki Minaj down or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just maybe not attack others, but just elevate it to a whole nother stratosphere. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of people making major, major moves in the industry that you can really see that really get it. I'm just trying to think of some. Big Sean does pretty well too. He's really a smart young man. You know what I'm saying? Some of the younger cats actually do get it. And they'll stop and talk to you, and they'll just ask questions. You know what I mean? They ask a question, fuck up, and listen, and that is so rare nowadays. It's like, why am I wasting? I'm not gonna waste my time telling you nothing bad. You can do with the information that you want. You know what I'm saying? Go for it. You know what I'm saying? But why are you asking me a question and then cut me off while I'm trying to give you the information that you asked for? At least my version, at the end of the day, you're gonna make your own decision. Well, shut the hell up. Well, let me keep on about my business. You know what I'm saying? Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't ask me a question, then argue with me. You know what I'm saying? All right, my bills are paid. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? And I hope yours are too. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of people really doing some phenomenal things and making some major money and major moves. The baby, Lil Baby, the numbers are just ridiculous. But from the baby, I give him his credit, and he did it the right way. He was performing at Will's Bistro in the smaller clubs. Him and Lil Baby, I think it was on the same. They was doing a little tour. You know what I'm saying? With 100, 200 people, building those experiences and building that crowd up, building that money up. Now, in a minute, my friend Mark gets on. He's his agent. You know what I'm saying? The numbers are crazy. You know what I'm saying? God bless him. I'm happy for him. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Chance the Rapper is doing this thing with his t-shirts and everything. And this is not letting them join it. Hey Heather, could you see if you can get Mark on the line? He said that he was working on the link still.
Will do.
But yeah, so to answer your question, there's a lot of people doing a lot of phenomenal things. There's also a lot of people messing up some good money. So, see, did you? I'm trying to have somebody join us. But yep. So I hope that answers your question. But there's a lot of opportunity in this tech space. You just got to be careful. Yeah. Heather, Miss Davis, are you there?
I'm here. I'm working on it right now.
Okay. Yeah, she texted me and said a few other people trying to get on and couldn't. Okay. Next question. Anybody else?
Yes. So what is one piece of advice that has been given to you that you feel like has catered to the success of you in the concert and entertainment industry today?
Hold on one second. I'm trying to send this over to Heather. My apologies. I'm trying to get somebody to join us on this call. We're having some technical difficulties. Okay. I'm sorry, say that again.
What is one piece of advice that has been given to you that you feel like has catered to the success of you in like the concert and entertainment industry?
Don't get caught up in the hype. Treat it like a business. Don't. Yes, there's entertainment. Yes, there's celebrities, this, that, other. But at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about you. You know what I'm saying? It's business. They want their money, and you want to show out of them, and you want to make your money. You know what I mean? Keep it business-wise, you know. And, you know, be careful from the groupie thing. You know, I just share that advice in general. Not just women, but men too. Some of these dudes, they're the worst groupies ever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, sad. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just whack, you know. But just try, you know, any business, learn about the business, learn all aspects of it, you know, learn the revenue streams tied to any field that you want to get into. That's really, really, really important. Like I said, I happened to come into the concert business doing primarily transportation. But from there, I learned about the speakers. I learned how much staging costs, the flooring, the decking. Like I learned about during the Detroit Music Festival in 2002 and 2003, those early days, this is before we had Shane Park, what Terraplast was and the expense of it. But in Terraplast, that covers up the baseball fields, so it doesn't damage the grass. Because when we did the Detroit Music Festival, it was in Comerica Park where the Tigers played. So I learned what it was and how they were trying to overcharge for it then. You know, when I used that same information, when I did the Durham Bulls ballpark for Art of Cool Festival. You know, almost 20 years later, same type of decking, same type of labor costs, same type of charges. So now I've seen this before, you know what I'm saying? So you learn about things that you don't think might be relevant at the time, but you get, you hold on to that information because you never know when it's going to come in handy. And time and time again, it's all things have, as I think I said earlier, there's nothing new except for Instagram. The stuff you see on it is not new. So the stuff I learned as far as the Terraplast, you're not running a game on me 20 years later because I saw it 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I learned the container cost from somebody else when Comerica Park was trying to stick them up. So I knew what to ask for to control my costs in Durham. So learn the business inside and out.
So which part of the artist like the most difficult to work with? Like whether it's the manager, the actual artist, Just can you tell us a little bit more about that, like difficult times that you've had?
I haven't had too many. I mean, you got a couple people, and I would never call any names out of someone being difficult. But if your business is taken care of on the front end, it doesn't really bother you. It's you want to. There's really three main things that I make sure the artist has, and the rest of it I ain't tripping on it at all. One is very important for transportation to be there when the artist gets off the plane, professional, ready to go. Because there's nothing wrong, there's nothing worse than having an artist in a group getting off a plane and they don't know where the hell they're going and they stand up in baggage claim looking stupid. You know what I'm saying? Two, you're gonna have tight production. You know what I'm saying? Your sound, your lights, and the quality of the show is gonna be A1. So when you get there for sound check, it's gonna be right. You know what I mean? Because you can't have feedback and all that. Cheat. No, we're not doing that. And then third, you're gonna have your brand. You know what I mean? So win, lose, or draw, your back end is gonna be there. You know what I mean? So anything outside of that, I don't want, motherfucking the show starts at 8. At 8:01, your money starts decreasing if you're not here where you're supposed to be. So all that other shit stuff you talking and this, that, make sure, you know what I'm saying? And most of them don't, especially the season ones, because that's what they want at the end of the day. They want picked up. You know what I'm saying? Most of them they want their bread. You know what I'm saying? We got that. People know that. We got a reputation. We're not gonna have those problems, and we really haven't had a lot of those problems. So, you got a couple asking for stupid stuff. I don't know, a limousine. I'm not buying you no limousine. If that other young time, you can get this 15 passenger van or this SUV. Choose one. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna get you from A to B. It's clean. Ain't nobody smoking. It's insured. Ain't baby's cousins, and you know what I'm saying, my homeboys. No, it's professional people doing a job on time. Expect you to be too. And a lot of that is dictated on the front end, how you advance the show. You know what I'm saying? Let the expectation know we ain't doing BS here. So your reputation precedes itself. Hey, Heather, any luck? Let me Miss Davis, any luck with Mark?
So we're trying one other alternative.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think we're about to pull them over right now.
Okay. Anybody have another question? You can go ahead.
So I would know earlier we talked about like what was your biggest accomplishment, but what would you say has been your biggest risk that you've taken, and how did that turn out?
The article was my biggest risk because I had never worked with bought something from somebody else. I took a bloodbath. So, but still standing. But long term it'll pay off. So it's every experience, good and bad, you learn from. You learn how to balance personalities. You learn how to balance exposure better. You learn how to balance your own ego. So that was my biggest risk outside of, well, I must know a lot of them, but when I quit my day job back in April 30th, 2003, I did not have a job. I did not have savings. I was making $1,000 a month. At the time, my wife was a teacher in Detroit Public Schools, making more than me, and that was for the first time in my life, I had fell behind on my mortgage. So it got really scary in 2003. I was like, I can do this for y'all, but I put in the work. Right? I got a couple contracts. That's the first time I experienced those invoices not getting paid. So I was in a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? But long term, God bless me, and we're still here. Fighting a good fight. They're gonna do what it do. I think I saw a question from my Sands. Morning, Thursday. Oh,
Somebody
okay.
asked, what have you done to diversify entrepreneurial portfolio? I guess yours or
Recently we've, especially during the pandemic, we started a logistics company, my wife and I, ATAP Logistics, All Things Are Possible. So we have box trucks, concerts ain't running, still gotta eat. So I'm over off Alexander where Amazon is, drive myself, and I got drivers dropping off packages around, the state of North Carolina to post offices, 2 trucks running tonight, you know what I'm saying? So, got to hustle and keep it coming in one way or the other, generate revenue. But again, even with that, if you see me in a 26-foot box truck, that means I'm out making deliveries, getting some bread. You know what I'm saying? Now, I did it for the few months. So now if a driver call in or this other get AWOL, I'm out in the truck. Ain't no shame in my game. I'm getting it in. You know what I'm saying? One way or the other. Also, have a book coming out that'll be called The Power of Us. My wife and I are writing about couples in business, and our life story NCC will be there. Hope people will pick it up. That'll be out May 15th. We'll announce that formally April 1st. It's the first time in public we've talked about that at all. But just learning how to diversify in general, because that's one of the things that I learned during the pandemic. I didn't protect myself and my family good enough. I thought I was diversified by having a venue, one in Detroit, 2, promote concerts as the first, do all the urban content at the DPAC and this, that, other, and I'm a booking agent as well. So that's 3 different streams of revenue. Always done very well. Same industry, shut down, 0. You know what I'm saying? So won't catch me slipping again. So I bite the bullet, start from scratch, and let's go.
So you talk about all these people that contribute to your success and the stuff that you're doing now. So what's the importance of having a team, building that team over time, who you can trust to be on your team?
Pray on it, use discernment. Generally, birds of a feather flock together. You know what I'm saying? But which is absolutely true. So make sure you're dealing with people who keep their word. Only deal with 100%ers. If you're 90%, you're cool, but you ain't my rock solid guy. You know what I mean? And the majority of, and I don't, have a whole lot of people around me. You know what I'm saying? Just we ain't got a lot of time besides my wife, of course. My brothers, but most of them are Central alum. Omar Beasley, best friend. We rock. You know what I'm saying? Been rocking since on Merrick Street in '92. You know what I'm saying? Be through the trip all through, T-Mon, you know what I'm saying? Another alum, you know what I'm saying? They're in Erykah, rest in peace. My Sands, you know what I'm saying? So, it's few and far in between, but you use discernment, and you deal with people, particularly within the industry. Who have a good name, and once you start working with them, you'll get a good name. So, just use discernment. Have a phrase that we use is, always be 100. If I tell you a duck can pull a truck, you can hook it up. You don't have to worry about how it's gonna pull it. It's gonna pull it. You know what I'm saying? And deal with people who need that same level of, of excellence with their tongue. It means everything. You know what I'm saying? And if something goes wrong, pick up that phone and say, hey, can't do it X, Y, and Z.
Okay, finally, I'm in.
Oh, there he is.
That was hard as shit to get it this, man. Hold on one second.
You on, brother? You on? You know what I'm saying?
I've done this show before.
Hey, well, since we're on the phone, I want to introduce a friend of mine. I call him my friend, one of the people within the industry. You know, I called him and he didn't hesitate to hop on this call. But this brother, this black man is, as far as I know, between him and Dennis, but you know, as far as long term, one of the as far as black agents, blacks in this business, Mark Cheatham has accomplished so much. I've always looked up for him. His word has always been golden. He's always, you know, as a young promoter, he gave me a shot. When I call him, tell him I'm coming to town, he takes meetings. He's Cardi B's agent right now, Little Baby, Kim. He's, you know, start off, I think you guys bring from Usher. I'll let him tell you about that. Justin Bieber, I don't know how he pulled that one off. That's one question I always wanted to ask him. His name is Mark Cheatham. He's with CAA. I don't know if he's a vice president or what he is. He's just a good brother. Apparently he went to Fayetteville State for a hot second. I found that out last night when I talked to him. But just a good brother. And I asked him to come on and share some of his experiences within the industry and talk about how important it is to have more black people, black men, black women on the business side of the industry. And he didn't hesitate. And apparently he's been struggling to get on this call for about a half an hour. And he made it happen. You know what I'm saying? Him and Miss David. Mark Cheatham, these people are there. And, you know, you see all those plaques on his wall. You know what I'm saying? He's that guy, man. Outstanding human being. I'm proud to call him a friend. And he's on the West Coast living life. It looked like it. I ain't never made it to his mansion. Is that Anthony Hamilton? Anthony Hamilton's agent too. I'm sorry, I can't forget Anthony. So, you know, give it up for Mark Cheatham.
Thank you for that warm, beautiful introduction. You know, I always say I'm just a kid from Queens that got a few breaks and took advantage of them. You know, I had no real, when I was coming up, there was no real internet the way you guys have internet now. Social media wasn't something that was really available. So I really didn't know there was a business behind the music business. I just listened to music on the radio, but I had no idea there was really, you could make money. You know, there was people that represented talent. I had no clue. You know, my journey starts with me kind of getting in trouble in high school and going away to my mother sent me away to a private school my last year of high school. Got out of high school and decided to join the Navy because well, actually got out of high school, went to Fayetteville State for 6 months, left Fayetteville State and decided to join the Navy. A story I tell about myself in the Navy, I was a medic, so I worked in the medical field. And the first day of boot camp, I was in boot camp, and I'll tie this together, but I'm just going to tell you the story. I joined the Navy. The first day of boot camp, we had just went through getting our hair cut and getting our clothes, and we get back to the barracks, and they say, find a bunk. And all these young guys, all cock, these are young 18-year-old, 19-year-old men. We're all testosterone out. We all run into our bunks and throw our stuff on the top of the bunk or the bottom. So I throw my stuff on the top of the bunk, and this guy throws his stuff on the bottom of the bunk, and this other kid comes and throws his stuff right where my stuff was, and I'm like, yo, I got this, man. Now you got this. And the guy below us, it's like, yo, where you from, man? I said, I'm from New York. He said, you gonna let Philadelphia talk to you like this? And me and the guy got into a fight. I wound up getting the bunk. But the story is that guy that was in the bottom bunk, his name was Charlie Murphy. And Charlie Murphy at the time told me, you know, one day we became friends from that point on. And he had told me while I was in boot camp that one day his brother was going to be famous. And he was not even on SNL at the time. Anyway, Charlie, I went my way in the Navy, and Charlie went his way. we kind of lost contact with each other. And then when I got out the Navy, I became an assistant at Merrill Lynch, and I was working for a stockbroker, and I wound up getting the opportunity to take the Series 63s, the Series 7, and I became a broker. And I was sitting behind my desk one day, and I see Murphy, and I'm like, Murphy, well, that looks just like Eddie. Eddie looks like this, is like Charlie, and I put it together. I'm like, oh, that's Eddie, that's Charlie's brother, Eddie. So I wound up calling Charlie, and we connected up, and I'll bring this back around, but we stayed friends ever since that point. And the reason, so after I became a stockbroker, I kind of didn't know what I was going to do. A friend of my mother's asked me if I was interested in the music business. I said, I don't know what you think about it. She said, well, there's a job at the company I work for called Associated Booking. And one, you come for an interview with a guy named Oscar Cohen, who was the president. And don't tell him you know me, though. I don't want you to know you know me. And you can start in the middle at $200 a week. I'm like, $200 a week? Like, she has 2 sons. I'm like, if it's that good a job, why don't you take your sons to take on the job, $200 a week? Anyway, so I went up for an interview. I had no idea what I was doing. The guy said, you want the job? You got it, kid. He gave me the job, and I started in the middle, started learning about the music business. And we booked old school acts like Anita Baker and B.B. King and Bobby Blue Bland, all that. So I was just in the middle room. I just handled the mail and took this guy's shoes to the shoemaker when he wanted me to, and whatever I had to do. And one day he started talking kind of nasty to me, and I said, I don't need to take this shit. And I went home and I decided, went out to lunch, and I didn't come back. And I said, I'm not doing this. Who does he think he's talking to? I'm Mark Cheatham. He ain't talk to me like that. And so I left, went home, and I'm in the basement of my mother's house. I have a little room down there. And the guy starts calling my phone. I think I might have picked it up. Somehow my mother knew it was him. Maybe he called upstairs. And she comes down the stairs and she says, pick up the phone and tell him what you don't like. Stop being a little baby and speak up. I pick up the phone, and my Oscar Cohen says, hey, kid, you're making a big mistake. You need to come back. You're going to do great. I'm going to put you on a desk as an assistant, and I'm going to make you an agent. Anyway, I went back, and now, 30 years later, I'm still in the business. So, I guess the moral of that story is don't give up on yourself. Don't, when the tough gets going, it's the people that hang in there, the ones that make it in the long run. So from Associated Booking, I jumped over to a company called Norby Walters, which was one of the hottest booking agencies in the game at that time. They had all the hot acts that you could think of during that time. But they had all the Def Jam acts, every Def Jam act, LL Cool J, anyone that was coming from Def Jam, they had. So I worked there for a while, and then the guy I worked with at ABC went to William Morris, another agency, and asked me if I wanted to come over to be an assistant. Now, coming from Associated Booking and Norby Walters, going to William Morris was like going to the big time. That was top of the line agency. So I wound up getting on his desk and working for him for a while. And I was out at an event, and I saw the guy that worked at ICM, and he asked me if I was interested in coming to ICM. So I told him I'd took an interview, and I wound up in ICM. Stayed at ICM for 20, over 20 years. I was at ICM. That's where I really got earned my way into business. My first signing was Brandy, SWV. I represented all the Diddy stuff, Cash Money, Rough Riders. I was the first one to ever meet with Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. So that's where I really cut my teeth. So the Charlie Murphy part, while I'm working at ICM, ICM represented Eddie Murphy, but they didn't know I knew the Murphys. They didn't know I was close to Charlie. I never told people, I don't brag about shit. So one day Charlie calls me and says, hey, come out to the Nutty Professor premiere and hang out with us. I'm like, I wasn't going to do it, but I decided, all right, I wanted to go out to the Nutty Professor premiere. And after the show, after the movie, we're back in the back lot. And the guy that was running ICM at the time, the president, was a guy named Jim Wyatt. He didn't know who I was. I was this young kid out of the New York office. He had no idea who I was. But I'm standing next to him and Eddie. I made sure I wanted, wherever Eddie was, I was trying to be right next to him because I knew that he was at the company I was at. They didn't know me. I knew him, but I wanted people to see I kind of knew who Eddie was. Anyway, Eddie's not the kind of person that really doesn't, like, he doesn't really big up a lot of people. He's just not that kind of guy. But anyway, he wound up putting his, I'm on a call, hon. I'm on a call. I'll come and see you. I'll come see you in a second. So he was, Eddie turns around at Jim Wyatt and puts his hand on Jim Wyatt's shoulder. And he says, Mark Cheatham is my man. Are you guys taking care of him? And the guy's face went completely white and his jaws were, he didn't know what to say. Anyway, the next day they doubled my salary, gave me a 3-year contract. He told my boss, make sure that kid's happy, make him feel good about himself. The moral of that story is being at the right place at the right time and having somebody empower you. You know, in this business, a lot of big celebrities don't empower young Black executives, agents, promoters, and that's part of our problem. We don't support each other. A lot of us go right to the white man and think that that's the way that he could offer something that we can offer, which is not true. It's an illusion. Now, there are some people that fucked it up for us. I mean, there's people out there that make us look bad, that are, you know, that look like us. So sometimes we hurt ourselves too. But I think if more talent embraced Black executives, I think we'd see more of Black executives in the business on the legal side, the agency side, the promoter side, etc. So that was the moral of that story. And from that point on, you know, I really had to prove myself. Even though they gave me an up, I had to really get to the point where I supported myself within the division because Eddie, even he was in the movie side, I'm in the music side, so it really it wasn't something I was day to day on with Eddie. So I wound up signing Usher since he was 15 years old, all the way through Past Confessions album. I signed Lady Gaga, I signed Pink, I've signed a lot of acts, Diddy, Biggie Smalls, we had them all. So that's pretty much my journey through the agency game. And now, after being at ITM for like 20 years almost, I think it's like 20, I wound up coming to CAA, Creative Artists Agency, and we're one of the biggest talent agencies in the world. And since I've been at CAA, I've signed, my most recent signings are Cardi B, April B, Little Baby. I've had KEM and Anthony for quite a long time. A lot of people give it up on R&B, but I still believe in old school R&B and stuff that's coming out. So I make sure I service those clients and pay attention to them as well. Yeah, so that's my story. A little bit of luck, a little bit about being at the right place at the right time. A little bit about somebody empowering you, having your back, so to say. And you know, there's no secret to hard work on top of it. So, and developing relationships and being honest with people. That's really my story, Sulaiman.
No problem. I have a question, man. I just appreciate you joining on, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you know, this is my school, this is my alma mater, and you know, I just really wanted to be. For me, it's important that more minorities, more Black people, especially Black men, but Black men and women, learn about why do you think it's important that they get in on the business side of the entertainment business, concerts or whatever? Because to me, it's dealing with other people for our music is frustrating. You know what I'm saying? They understand our culture and the whole thing, but there's like when I went to NCCU, I didn't even know that being a concert promoter was an option. I didn't know anything about being, you know, at the time, I didn't know anybody like you existed, you know what I'm saying? Or even that side of the business existed. Why do you think it's important and other minorities and Black people in particular get into this side of the business?
Well, because I think, like you just said, you're representing an artist that looks like you're going to have a better understanding of how to represent him. You know, you're going to understand his audience, his market. You know, you gotta. One thing you got to do is like the music too. It's good to be able to like what you're doing. So, you know, I think being on the business side of the business in general in music, there's been a lot of successful people and have made just as much money and more money than being on the talent side. I mean, everyone from Russell Simmons to Jay-Z to Diddy. I mean, they're bigger than the artists. Scooter Braun right now with Justin Bieber, who I actually signed, and since you know I'm in his movie. If you ever watched the Justin Bieber movie, I'm in. So yeah, I think
you get Justin Bieber. That's I finished that up, but you know.
Huh?
How'd you get Justin Bieber? I know they took him from you, but.
Scooter Braun, who's his manager, you know, he used our culture to kind of create Justin Bieber. And, you know, he used the whole Usher thing like they were together, which they really were. He kind of used the whole Usher angle. And he had the guy, a brother named Chris Hicks out of Atlanta help him. A lot of us helped Scooter get where he is. And it hasn't really come back. But anyway, that's another story. But he had a kid named Asher Roth who was a rapper. And I met with him about Asher Roth. And he said, I think I'm going to give Asher Roth to another agent. But, you know, I got something I want you to take a look at. It happened to be Justin Bieber. Now, he knew I had done Usher since day one. He was kind of trying to duplicate Usher's kind of team. So even though Usher didn't endorse him coming to me and Usher didn't help me land him, it was the manager's perception of Usher's team that he wanted to keep in place. So he hired me, Usher's business manager. We were all part of the team because he knew what we had done for Usher.
Oh.
That's how I got Justin Bieber.
Oh. Interesting. Well, I turn it over to the students. I'll get out of the way, you know. You guys can introduce yourself to Mark and this, that, other, you know. This is a rare opportunity to tap into. I know we're over our time, but, you know, to ask a power player in the industry, you know, and any questions you want.
How you doing? I guess I introduce myself first. My name is Malcolm Beeman. I'm a senior here at North Carolina Central University. I serve while I'm the lead photography and videography for Institute Life, which is the campus marketing team. And I'm a part of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. As far as my major, I'm a mass communication major with concentration in broadcast media. So I'll let Jada introduce herself.
Okay.
Hello, I am Jada Anthony, a senior hospitality and tourism student from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I serve as the Student Activities Board Vice President.
There you go.
And hello, my name is Alexis Harp. I'm a junior mass communication student from Durham, North Carolina, and I serve as the Student Activities Board President.
It's beautiful.
So yeah, so these are the young people who've been moderating this event, and you know, for me, you know, graduating from there and you know, learning a lot, and you know, coming back and doing some of the homecoming shows, and not being offered to speak, and this, that, and other. It's an honor for me, you know, because there has been, you know, you kind of separate. It's kind of like coming back home. You know what I mean? Trying to pull the generation up. I want to encourage. You know, when I moved back to North Carolina 10 years ago, you know, it's like, you know, I really want to make an impact on my school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Community, this, that, other, and really been trying to do that, and not to be sitting here speaking. I have no idea how many people are watching will end up doing this, but the behind the scenes part of the industry is so important, because we need to, with the Black Promoters Collective, we'll be signing that contract tomorrow, trying to take back our culture and has an ownership stake within our within our culture, and to be able to make an impact on HBCUs, and my own personal one. It's important, to have, like we talked about internships and stuff like that, so that people can get a really good feel. I mean, there's millions of dollars to be made, not on that stage, and let's say you're making $500,000, $250,000, $300,000 a year. The artists are going to come and go. Let me ask you this, Mark. One of the questions that I have for you, we talked about it earlier, and they asked me a question that I thought was good, is how has the concert industry changed over the last few years, and where do you see it's going? And my thing was, one of the hard parts for me as a promoter, on the promoter side, I know you're on the agent side, so sometimes we clash over price points and this and other, but one of the challenges that I've had, and that I see artists having, is now with the internet, they'll get so hot, their number goes so high so quick that they miss a lot of coming to schools like North Carolina Central, Fayetteville State, this, that, other, because, when I was at Central, Biggie came to our homecoming. Ice Cube was there, Rare Essence, you know what I'm saying? So you build, when you do these smaller, $20 gigs and stuff like that, you build a fan base for life, because they have that experience of going out with their friends at a price that they can afford. A lot of these new artists, they get so hot so quick. As a promoter, I call it, how much the act? $65,000. So by the time you do a $60,000 act or something like that, it's $150,000 worth of expense. That means the price for the tickets are $55, $65, $75, and the money right there for the students to get that experience. So a lot of them fizzle out so quick. You know what I mean?
The thing about talent doesn't understand the math, and they don't want to understand the math, and the managers don't want to understand the math. They understand what they want to make. So as an agent, it's my job to kind of explain to them, the basics pretty much. It's unbelievable, but it's what we have to do. This is the most you're going to gross is 200 grand. You can't make 200 grand. Everybody's got to eat. The promoter's got to eat. He's got expenses to pay. So, but a lot of times they do pass up on opportunities because of that. I got clients right now that want way more than I think they're worth. And you just can't talk them off the ledge. They want what they want. And, I continually try to educate, and they're going to wind up like so many acts that we know, 5 or 6, 7 years down the road, calling up saying, "Oh, I'll take any date you can bring me," because they left all that money on the table.
Right.
They regret it in the long run. Trust me.
Yeah.
Even to this day, like SWVs or the Adina Howards of the world, they made so many stupid decisions when they were coming up. Yeah. And now they're getting peanuts compared to what they could have had in the bank, or not have to even work anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because on my side, it's like it's tough. It's as I explained, you have that experience. A lot of the students that are on campus now, I can't sell them old school because they didn't have that experience when they were young. They never actually get to see the artists because they immediately outprice themselves, and it's tough. And one of the acts, and I normally don't call names, but Dej Loaf. From D, I was telling the management at the time, like, "Hey, yo, I got these HBC. I can put you on all these campuses. I'm gonna charge you $20, but I can't give you $40,000 a night because there's no way it's not gonna make sense." Come on, you know what I'm saying? It's like You missed out
And
the opportunity to make money.
they fast, right? They fast in the day.
Yeah, because somebody in their ear is like, and I've never been on that side of it. It's like, you take, so you can make money forever if you take this money now. You know what I'm saying? Get on that campus and get that experience so people can want to relive it forever. And they just don't get it.
You're preaching to the choir, man.
Okay.
I wish I could. I had an answer for you. I don't.
Okay, well there you go.
I mean, they just like I said, there's people that managers that will get insulted at you when you bring them a real offer that makes sense. And how you dare you bring me that kind of number? So I think it's just a matter of getting some of these artists that are coming up. And the kids move quick now. Content moves so fast. So you just got to get ahead with the kids, what they want, and try to get it with the artists as early as possible before the price.
Yeah, and be done with it. Don't think about it long term. So, all right.
No.
Well, unless somebody else has a question for Mark, I don't know if there's questions out there. I don't want to hold you too long, brother. I appreciate you hopping on. I think you bring so much information for me personally. I've admired you for so many years, what I'm saying, the work you put in, the commitment you've had to our community, your demeanor, everything. I can't thank you enough, man. So,
well, man, you and your mother, you got my support fully. You guys are really holding us down in this business. Without entrepreneurs and promoters like you, we don't have a business. So you guys fill a big role. Do I wish you can get into some of these bigger shows with Live Nation, AEG? Yes. I think somehow we need to make it so when they come to Detroit, we make sure you guys get cut in somehow. And I know, I hate to say cut in because you deserve more than being cut in. But the problem nowadays is what you said. The artists want a lot of money. They want guarantees, and they want to make sure if they don't sell the tickets, they still get paid. And smaller promoters can't take those kind of hits.
right.
You can't pay someone 150 grand and lose 200.
Right.
Your feet.
Yeah.
Big boys like Live Nation, they don't care because they're driving their bottom line by sponsor revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And bodies in the building, all the ancillary revenue, that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the stock market play, and this, that, others. It's crazy. It's a whole nother world. So,
yeah,
that's a conversation we would have another time. I'm coming out to LA soon, so.
Well, if you come out, come through. I'll throw something on the grill for you.
My brother, I appreciate you, man.
It's 80 degrees out here today.
Hey, it's 70 here in North Carolina. I'm good. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, Asian basketball courts and all of that, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about.
I'm representing the Knicks, they suck. Anyway.
God is good, man. Hey, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Okay. All right, brother. Please.
Well, we do thank you so much, Mr. Mausi, for joining us tonight, giving us all of your insight and valuable information. Before we wrap up officially, was there anything else that you wanted to say or maybe address?
Again, I just want to say thank you for whoever thought about, inviting me on. You know what I'm saying? It really, really does mean a lot to me personally. I love NCCU. I want to be able to give back and make any contributions that I can, help out any way that I can. I've always done it. I always will do it as long as I gotta, if I can make an impact and help along the way, I promise you I will. I will always do that, So, I'm humble, it'll be my prayer that either you all or somebody watching this, it's great. 30 years goes by faster than you think, or 25 or 15 or whatever, that you're on this side of it and you're having that same conversation. It is our responsibility to reach out. It is our responsibility to continue to make an impact on our campus. it's our responsibility to uplift other NCCU alum, other HBCU alum, et cetera, to pull each other up, to make sure the best that we can impact our future for our communities, because we're on the forefront of that for our lives, for our children, our grandchildren, et cetera. You know what I mean? So I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for you all having me. I can't say it enough. I've said it a few times, but you know, it really does mean a lot. You know what I'm saying? So thank you.
Yes, once again, thank you. Thank you also for bringing in Mr. Cheatham. We definitely enjoyed talking to you both. And yeah, so for everybody, we hope you please join us for the next Rock the Lyceum, which will be March 10th at 6 p.m. We will be talking to the alum Anthony Donaldson. So we hope to see you all there. Thank you again, Mr. Mausi.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.